Brought to you by www.oneauto.com, your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet.
Hi, I'm Mike Green. I'm one of the owners of 1A Auto. I want to help you save time and money repairing and maintaining your vehicle. I'm going to use my 20 plus years experience restoring and repairing cars and trucks like this to show you the correct way to install parts from 1AAuto.com. The right parts installed correctly. That's going to save you time and money. Thank you and enjoy the video.
In this video, we'll be replacing a fog light on a 2004 GMC Sierra. These fit 2003 to 2006 Sierra. And this is it's a fairly easy project. It only requires a 10mm socket and wrench and a 532 Allen wrench. We're going to be switching back and forth from underneath and above. So here's your back of your fog light, and you can see up in there, that's one of the bolts that holds it in. There's two bolts that bolt in from the top. Now don't get too excited here. It's not just two bolts, pull it out, unplug it, plug it back in. It's actually more complicated than that. You're actually going to have to take apart the light from the bracket to be able to get it out of the truck. It's a little bit of close quarters. So we're going to start by removing the two bolts. They're 10mm bolts, and there's room to get up in there. You'll see even with my big paws I can get my hand and wrench up in there and remove those bolts. You basically just have to go right up in behind the bumper, and you'll see me reach over further and I can get a hold of the other one. So they're not too bad to get a hold of. Now obviously I have it up on a lift, which is nice, but it's still, even laying on your driveway or whatever, you can get up in there. Okay, and once you have that done, I'm going to show you the light off of the car here. What I want to show you is how to remove the light from the actual bracket. And basically you just use a screwdriver, regular screwdriver, and just kind of pry to the side. Okay. And that comes out of there. You don't have to pry too hard, and then on the other side it's just two pins and they come right apart. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to on the car here. Just flip that back together real quick. You'll need to do that process later. So back onto the car here, and just kind of, now you've got it unbolted so you can move it around a little bit. Reach in there with your screwdriver and separate out that side. Takes a little bit of finagling when you're working in close quarters like that, but eventually it'll pop out. And then from the other side you can take it out. And now your light is still connected to the bracket by the adjusting screw. And if you have a broken light, and the adjusting screw is a 532's Allen screw, and if your light's broken, what you can do is just mark the adjusting screw up near where it goes into the light, and this gives you a reference point of where your light was aimed before. And I can talk more about that later. So now I'm just taking the light out of the back. Okay, and then we'll go back to the front view here, and taking you just kind of turn the light to the side and it pulls out of the front. Okay, and then the bracket comes right out nicely. And with it all together you can't do it like that, but it's not too much of a pain to get it apart. So now I'm just going to unplug the bulb so it doesn't end up getting damaged. And now what you want to do before if you got a new light or right here, take it apart and you want to take the adjusting screw out. And you just kind of pinch that clip and it pulls out of the bracket just like that. Alright, and then to put it back together, you put your bracket up in there. You don't need to bolt it in at this point, just kind of put it up in there and hang it up in there. Take your light, and if you got confused or whatever and you want to know, you're not sure which side is up, there's writing on the lens. That writing should obviously be right side up, and then there's a little rectangular hole right below the light hole, and that should be on the bottom. So now you just kind of place the light in there and just get it into position. You don't have to worry about it too much. And just kind of finagling it in there. And there it is. And now we'll go back onto the underneath, and your adjusting screw that you have, you just put it up in there, and you can start it with your hand. And this is just really the easiest way to do it, and make sure you get that adjusting screw in there straight. You know, you don't want to try and put it in there crooked and strip that little plastic nut that it goes into. And then you just start it in there, and pretty soon that clip will just kind of work its way into the square hole. Obviously you want to make sure that it clips in the right way. The teeth have to be the certain way. They have to be into the narrow way so that it'll clip. And once you get a certain distance, then you can just kind of push the clip up in. You can't do it too early because you'll bottom out the light on the bracket and it won't happen. So I just put my thumb up in there, push it in, and it's all set. And then just do the Allen screw back to basically the same position as you had it before. And like I said, when you take it apart, before you take it apart, you can mark it up near that little round plastic nut there. Just mark where it is, and you can either use your original adjusting screw, or you can just kind of mark the new adjusting screw and get it basically into the same position. And now we're just going to re-bolt it back in. Again, you can get your hands up in there pretty easy. Just want to make sure that you really push the bolts back down into the clips and make sure you get it right. You can see here I actually have a little problem with the second one, and what I have to do is kind of reach up in there with the screwdriver and just slide the clip back into place. And then, like I said, just make sure when you put those in, you push them down into place, get them going a few turns, and then pull back out. Make sure you got a good bite into the clips. And then once they're up in there, tighten them up. And then I'm just replacing the bulb. And then hook up the harness. And you're pretty much good. And you know, might want to turn them on. Obviously, make sure everything's working right. Aim them, make sure that they're not pointing up at the sky or anything like that. But beyond that, you're pretty much all set. This video was brought to you by www.oneauto.com. We hope we helped you out. We are your source for quality replacement parts and the best service on the internet. Feel free to call us toll free 888-844-3393. We're here for you on the internet and in person. Thank you very much.